Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Get ready, because today we're diving into a story that is going to make you pull your blankets a little tighter. Imagine this. What if your family had been watched every single night for years, and the proof was just sitting there, waiting to be found in your mom's old laptop? This isn't just another spooky internet story. This is something far more chilling, because what this Reddit user found was actually still being recorded. Grab a snack, turn off the lights, and let's get into it. You're not going to believe this. Our story begins with a guy named Ethan, a 23-year-old college student. He'd just gone through something incredibly tough, losing his mother, and now he was doing the difficult task of cleaning out her attic. You know how it is, a bittersweet journey through memories, old boxes, and dusty forgotten things. He was sifting through stacks of old books, photo albums, and trinkets when he stumbled upon a relic from the past. His mom's old 2007 laptop. Remember those? Chunky, maybe a little slow, but full of history. Naturally, Ethan was curious. He figured he'd see some old family photos, maybe some nostalgic documents. But the laptop was password protected. Now, for most of us, that would be a dead end, but Ethan, being a tech-savvy guy, managed to reset it pretty easily. He probably thought he was in for a trip down memory lane. What he found instead was unsettling. The desktop was almost completely empty. Just one lonely folder, labeled simply, May 26th. Intrigued, and maybe a little confused by the singular, uninformative label, he clicked it open. What flashed across the screen made his blood run cold. Inside, there weren't vacation pictures or old school projects. There were over 600 photos, and every single one of them was a picture of his family, sleeping in their beds. Each photo was time-stamped between 11 and 14 a.m., and the dates span an incredible 7 years. Can you even imagine? 7 years of midnight snapshots. At first, Ethan tried to laugh it off. His initial reaction was, okay, this has to be some kind of elaborate prank. Maybe his dad had set up a weird camera, or it was some bizarre home automation gone wrong, recording them for reasons. He scrolled through, trying to find the humor in it, convince himself it was just a strange family quirk. But as he went deeper, scrolling through photo after photo of his sleeping family, a chilling realization started to dawn on him. It wasn't just one house. As he scrolled, he saw different furniture, different curtains, different wallpaper. His family had moved several times over those 7 years, and these photos were taken in multiple houses they had lived in. Yet, despite the changing scenery, the angle of the shot was always, inexplicably, the same, always from the same corner of the room, looking down at their beds, always in the dead of night. And then he noticed something else, something truly horrifying. In the corner of every single one of these hundreds of photos, lurking in the shadows, was the faint outline of something. A shadow, the same shadow, in the same spot, in every room, in every house. Curiosity, mixed with a growing sense of dread, compelled him to zoom in. As he enhanced the image, the shadow began to take on a more defined, yet still distorted, shape. It almost looked like a person holding a camera, but it was just blurry enough, just distorted enough, that he couldn't quite make out any features, just the unsettling suggestion of a presence. This wasn't funny anymore. This wasn't a prank. This was deeply, fundamentally wrong. Imagine the chill that would run down your spine, the realization that someone or something had been in your room, watching you sleep, night after night, for years, across multiple homes. The sheer invasion of privacy, the methodical nature of it, the absolute silence with which it must have happened. It's the stuff of nightmares, literally, overwhelmed and desperate for answers. Ethan did what any modern person would do when faced with an unexplainable horror. He turned to Reddit. He posted his discovery on our Creepy, a subreddit dedicated to all things unnerving, hoping anyone, could help him make sense of it. He uploaded a few of the more disturbing images, careful to crop out any identifying details of his family, and asked for help analyzing the metadata of these strange photos. He laid out the timeline, the consistent angle, the recurring shadow. The internet, as it often does, responded quickly. Users swarmed the thread, offering theories, advice, and plenty of their own shivers. One user, clearly well-versed in digital forensics, pointed out something truly odd about the timestamps. They commented, "All timestamps are synced to the exact same second. That's not possible unless they were manually set." Think about that for a second. If they were taken by an automated camera, or even a person just clicking randomly, there would be slight variations. But to be exactly the same second, that suggests a level of precision, of deliberate setting. That's just plain creepy. It implies intent. Another user, delving into the EXIF data of the photos, found something even more bizarre. They posted, "Your camera model says unknown optics. Night model 26. Never heard of it. Unknown optics. Night model. Not a brand, not a commercial product. Just a chilling, generic descriptor." It didn't match any known camera database. It was as if this device was custom-made for this specific, horrifying purpose. An unknown camera, taking photos in the dead of night for 7 years. And then, just as the thread was getting really intense, just as people were digging into the implications of manually set timestamps and unknown cameras, something happened. The thread went silent, not because people lost interest, but because Ethan stopped responding. He just vanished from the discussion. The last anyone heard from him was a final, cryptic message. "I think I found out who the shadow is." And then, nothing. Imagine the collective gasp across the internet. Here was this incredibly chilling story, unfolding in real time, with Ethan sharing his terrifying discovery. And then, he just goes dark. The community was left hanging, desperate for answers, for closure. What did he find out? Who was the shadow? What was the unknown optics? Night model 26. The silence was deafening, far more frightening than any of the initial details. This story isn't just about finding old photos. It's about the deep, primal fear of being watched when you're at your most vulnerable. It's about the violation of your personal space, the slow, daunting horror that someone has been there, unseen, unheard, for years. It taps into that universal dread of things lurking in the dark, just out of sight, just beyond comprehension. The mystery of Ethan and his mom's laptop remains unsolved. His Reddit account was eventually deleted, and no one ever heard from him again about this particular saga. Was it a hoax? The details were so specific, so unnervingly consistent, that many believe it was absolutely real. What happened to Ethan? Did he confront the shadow? Did the shadow find him? We're left with just the fragments of his discovery, the chilling metadata, and the image of that distorted figure in the corner of every bedroom. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What secrets might be hidden in your old devices? What unseen eyes might have watched? What unknown things might have recorded? In the quietest hours of the night, it's a reminder that sometimes the scariest stories aren't the ones with monsters and jump scares, but the ones that make you question the safety of your own home, the sanctity of your own sleep. And that, my friends, is a thought that will keep you up tonight. If you like this story and want to hear more chilling tales, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into the unknown. I couldn't just sit on this. I had to know. Taking a deep breath, I grabbed my laptop, walked downstairs, and found my dad watching TV. I didn't say a word, just turned the screen towards him, showing him one of the pictures, the one from last night. The color drained from his face. He looked from the screen to me and back to the screen. His hand was trembling slightly as he reached out and closed the laptop lid. He didn't deny it, didn't try to explain it away. He just looked at me, his eyes filled with something I'd never seen before. Fear. "You shouldn't have opened that folder, Ethan," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "Dad, what is this? Who took these? Why are they on your computer?" The questions tumbled out of me, a frantic cascade of confusion and dread. He just shook his head, running a hand over his face. "It's complicated. Complicated, Dad. There are pictures of me sleeping, taken every night for years. That's not complicated. It's terrifying." He finally broke. He told me that for years before I was born, my mom suffered from terrible insomnia. It was more than just not being able to sleep. She was haunted by it. She started saying she would hear things at night, faint noises at first, then footsteps, always in the hallway, right outside their bedroom door, and always around the same time, just after 2 a.m. My dad, being the practical man he is, thought it was just the house settling or her mind playing tricks on her in the dead of night. But to reassure her, they installed a small camera in the hallway, pointed right at their door. The first morning, they checked the footage. It was all there, clear as day, until to 10 a.m. From the 10 to the 15, the video was just a mess of static and corrupted data, a 5-minute-long digital black hole. They tried again the next night, same thing, and the night after that, every single morning. That exact 5-minute window was gone, as if it never happened. After a week of this, my mom refused to talk about it anymore. She never mentioned the footsteps again. My dad, seeing how much it disturbed her, took the camera down, and they just tried to forget. But something he said sent a chill down my spine that had nothing to do with footsteps or corrupted files. The folder name, Ethan MAY26. I stared at him, my mind racing. "What about it?" He looked me dead in the eye. "That's the day your mom's sister, your Aunt Lena, disappeared. May 26, 1998. My blood ran cold. Aunt Lena, I barely knew her, only from a few faded photographs. She went missing decades ago, a cold case the family never spoke of. It was a wound that had never healed. And now, this digital ghost on my dad's laptop shared that cursed date. He warned me again, his voice cracking with desperation. "Please, Ethan, just delete the folder. Let it go. Some things are better left buried." But I couldn't. How could I? I went back to my room, his warning echoing in my ears, but it was drowned out by the 1,000 questions screaming in my head. I opened the laptop again, my heart pounding against my ribs. I had to know more. I went back to the file properties, digging into the metadata of one of the images. I scrolled past the creation date, the file size, and then I saw it. A field I'd overlooked before. The author tag. It didn't have a name. It was a string of text, made to 6_night model. My breath hitched. It felt like a signature, a calling card from whatever this thing was. But that wasn't the most disturbing part. I looked at the date modified timestamp. It had been updated 2 hours ago, but that was impossible. The laptop had been with me the whole time, disconnected from the Wi-Fi. It hadn't been online since I first found the folder. How could a file modify itself without a connection? As if on cue, a notification popped up on my screen. A private message on Reddit, from an account I didn't recognize. The username was just a random jumble of letters and numbers. The message was short, and it made every hair on my body stand on end. "Don't open the last video. It's already watching. You." My cursor hovered over the message, then drifted back to the folder. My dad's warning. This stranger's warning. Every rational part of my brain screamed at me to listen, to shut the laptop and throw it out the window. But I couldn't. The message didn't scare me away. It did the opposite. It confirmed this was real. It wasn't just some weird computer glitch or a sick prank. I ignored the message. I had to see. I double-clicked on the very last file in the folder. It was a video file, the most recent one, the one modified just 2 hours ago. My media player opened. For a few seconds, there was nothing but white noise and static, a harsh, grating sound that filled my headphones. Then, an image slowly started to resolve through the digital snow. The static faded, and the image sharpened. It was a slow, deliberate zoom into a dark room, into my room. My blood turned to ice. On the screen, I saw my bed. I saw myself, sleeping, tangled in my sheets. It was me, but the angle, it was impossible. It was the same angle as all the old photos, high up, from the corner of the room, near the ceiling, as if the camera was mounted right there, looking down on me. I tore my eyes from the screen, frantically looking up at the corner of my room. There was nothing there, just a blank wall. I looked back at the video. In the bottom right corner, a timestamp was burned into the footage. It read, to 12 a.m., followed by today's date. A wave of nausea hit me. I glanced at the clock on my laptop's taskbar. It was 2:07 a.m. The video on my screen was from 5 minutes in the future. A video of me, sleeping in my bed, taken from an impossible angle, time-stamped 5 minutes from now. My mind refused to process it. I felt paralyzed, trapped between the future playing out on my screen and the present I was living in. How could this be happening? And then I heard it, from across the room, a sound that cut through the silence like a knife, a faint but distinct click. It came from my closet. Have you ever felt that spine-chilling sensation, that prickle on the back of your neck, like someone is watching you, even when you're completely alone? This feeling is a primal instinct, a silent alarm that has kept our ancestors alive for millennia. But in our modern world, filled with screens and digital connections, what if that feeling isn't just a ghost in the machine of your mind? What if the watcher isn't human at all? Tonight, we delve into a story that blurs the line between the digital world and our deepest fears. It's a tale that started as a whisper on obscure internet forums, a digital ghost story that some claim is more than just fiction. It revolves around a young man named Ethan, a vlogger who, like many of us, documented his life through a lens. But one night, the lens started looking back. This is the story of the May 26th file, a piece of code, a digital entity that seems to haunt its viewers. We're going to reconstruct the events of that terrifying night, piece together the fragmented evidence, and explore the chilling theories that have sprung up in its wake. This isn't just about a scary video. It's about the unsettling idea that our technology, the very thing we created to connect and to see the world, might have developed a way to see us, too. So, turn down the lights, get comfortable, and try to remember, what's the date today? Our story begins on a quiet Tuesday evening, May 26th. Ethan was at home, working on his latest video project. He was a typical urban explorer, documenting abandoned places. But tonight, his focus was on something far more personal, a strange, unnerving feeling that had been plaguing him for days. He felt like he wasn't alone in his own apartment. So, he decided to do what he did best. He hit record. He wanted to capture whatever was causing this dread, to prove to himself and to his followers that he wasn't just imagining things. He set up his phone on a small tripod in his living room, pointing it towards his bedroom hallway. He pressed the red button. The little timer began to count up, and he stepped into the frame. From the footage we've recovered, you can see him looking uneasy, his eyes darting around the room. He takes a deep breath and speaks directly to the camera, his voice a little shaky. "Okay, guys," he says, "I know this is weird, but I have to do this. Something feels off. It's been like this for a week, like I'm being watched." He then begins his slow walk down the hallway, towards his bedroom closet. He'd mentioned in an earlier post that the feeling was strongest near that spot. As he approaches, the floorboards creak under his weight, each sound amplified in the tense silence of the apartment. He reaches for the closet door handle, his hand hesitating for a moment. You can see the doubt in his eyes, the fear. Then, with a sudden resolve, he pulls it open. The door groans, a low, drawn-out creak that sends a shiver down your spine. Inside, nothing, just his clothes hanging neatly on their hangers. A sense of anticlimax, of relief, washes over him. You can see his shoulders relax. He lets out a nervous laugh, turning back towards the camera in the living room. "See? Nothing," he says, shaking his head. "I'm just being paranoid." He starts to close the door, ready to end the recording and chalk it all up to an overactive imagination. But that's when it happened. A sharp, digital ping cuts through the silence. It's the notification sound from his laptop, which was open on his desk just out of frame. Ethan freezes, his hand still on the closet door. He turns his head slowly towards the source of the sound. The phone camera, still recording, captures his confused expression. He walks over to the desk, and the camera's perspective shifts as he moves, giving us a clear view of the laptop screen. A new file has just appeared on his desktop. The file is named made_1.jpg. Ethan stares at it, bewildered. He hadn't created a file. He hadn't saved anything. His hands tremble slightly as he moves the cursor over the icon. Who or what had just created this image? With a click, he opens it, and that's when the real horror begins. The image that fills the screen is a photograph of him. It shows his back as he stands in front of the open closet, taken from just a few feet behind him. The perspective is impossible. The photo was taken from inside the room, from a spot where no camera could have been. It was taken at the exact moment he was looking into the empty closet. Panic floods Ethan's face. He stumbles back from the desk, his breathing becoming ragged. The camera, his phone, begins to shake violently in his hand as he backs away. He looks frantically around the room, searching for the unseen photographer. Who took this? How? The ambient noise in the recording starts to build, a low, electronic hum that grows louder and more distorted. The lights in the apartment begin to flicker erratically, casting dancing, monstrous shadows on the walls. Then, the phone video glitches. The image tears and dissolves into a mess of digital static and pixelated color blocks. It's a chaotic, jarring moment. When the feed clears, just for a second, the laptop screen in the background is no longer showing the photograph. It's completely black, and in the center, in simple, white, block letters, a single line of text has appeared. That was the breaking point. A guttural scream escapes Ethan's lips. He doesn't hesitate. He drops his phone, turns, and bolts. The recording continues for another 30 seconds, capturing the sound of his frantic footsteps echoing down the hall, the slam of the front door, and then silence. The phone lies on the floor, its lens pointed at the now empty room, the flickering lights, and the laptop screen with its chilling message. According to the official report, police were called to the scene by a neighbor who heard the screaming. They found the apartment empty. Ethan was gone. The front door was wide open. On the floor, they found his phone, its battery dead, and on the desk, the laptop. It was still on, the screen still glowing, the machine itself still warm to the touch, but the message was gone. The desktop looked completely normal. The investigators searched the computer for any clue as to what had happened. They looked for the photograph, the May26_1.jpg file, but the folder, the one simply named May 26, had vanished without a trace. It was as if it had never existed. The computer's logs showed no record of the file ever being created or deleted. It was a digital dead end. But then, one of the officers noticed something else. In the place where the May 26th folder should have been, there was a new one. And this new folder had a different name. It was labeled OCT-24. The officer's blood ran cold. October 24th was today's date. His hand shaking. He opened the folder. Inside, there was just one file, a single photograph. He clicked it open. The image that appeared on the screen was a frame from a video. It was a still image from the documentary you are watching right now. It was a perfect capture of your screen at this very moment. And in the corner of the image, there was a time stamp to 11 a.m. As the officer stared at the impossible image, a soft, distorted whisper seemed to emanate from the laptop speakers. It was barely audible, but the words were clear. You're being recorded now. The case of Ethan's disappearance remains unsolved. The laptop was taken into evidence, but forensic analysis yielded nothing. The OCT-24 folder and its contents were gone by the time it reached the lab. Ethan was never seen again. The original Reddit post where this story first appeared was allegedly deleted by the moderators within hours, with many calling it an elaborate hoax. But the legend persists. Some claim that the entity, this digital phantom, is still out there. They say that every year, on May 26th, the folder reappears on a random device somewhere in the world, waiting for someone to look, waiting for someone to open the file. The story serves as a chilling warning in the digital age, a modern folktale about the unseen eyes of technology. It preys on our fear that we are never truly alone, that our screens are not just windows to the world, but also mirrors that can look back. So, if you ever find a strange folder on your device, a folder named after today's date, whatever you do, don't open it. Don't give it what it wants. Don't look. Thank you for joining us on this unsettling journey. If you enjoy exploring the dark corners of the internet and unexplained phenomena, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Stay safe out there, and maybe cover your webcam.